Welcome, everyone, to Quick Moments and Passionate Pursuits The Unfolding, where intuitively guided conversations are followed with feral faith, enthusiasm, and joy, bringing new insights and inspiration and perspectives along the way. And we're your hosts, Beth or
Bridget Querns.
And today we want to talk about love. This is something that no matter who we are or where we're at, that it seems like we're always wanting more and searching for it. And one of the things that we've been talking about is this slightest shift in orientation that we believe that we can make in order to shift our entire experience with finding and receiving and searching for love here. It's a whole conversation that we'd like to have around having more love and receiving more love in our life. So this kind of came about because, Bridget, you're preparing for a speech later today, and we got to talking about you were sharing your topic, and one of the things that you said, I love this phrase, and so I want you to be able to say this phrase because I think it's just so beautiful. You had about love coming to us, and would you just kind of share kind of what came to you as you were having your realizations, and this kind of took us into this topic?
Yeah, so what it started with was thinking about the Hertz frequency scale and noticing a quality of it that I hadn't thought about before. And so what I was thinking about was the Hertz frequency scale deals with energy and vibration. And kind of at the lower levels, we've got like things that we might deem like negative or heavier emotions or feelings. And as you move up, you get into love and joy and peace and enlightenment and these connected, lighter states of being. But what I noticed was all these lower parts on the frequency scale, as you move up, you don't move past them. You integrate them into the higher vibrations. So your 100, your 200, your 300, your 400, all of those get integrated as you move up. So when you're in a state of love or joy or peace, which you know the numbers for those.
Yeah, love is 500, joy is 540, and peace is 600.
So when you're at those 500, 540, 600, all of the lower vibrations are still present. 100, 200, 300, they're all still there. They're all still resonating. It's just that you've integrated them into this higher state of being. And so what I wanted people to hear is that when you see people operating in the world from this place of love and joy and peace, I have people say all the time, you look so happy, you're so peaceful, you just carry this peace with you. Like you walk into a room and we feel your presence and that energy. And you have people say that all the time. People comment on your energy. That's because we have integrated all these things. It's because we recognize and we understand that when we're at these higher frequencies, we're not avoiding the lower things. We're not saying that they don't exist. We're saying that that's all within our experience. And we bring this vibration of love or above to it and through it. So what I finally arrived at was that the point of this life and this experience isn't to get to love and escape everything else. Isn't that once you get to love, joy, and peace, you're never going to feel anger, you're never going to feel frustration, you're never going to feel sadness, you're never going to feel, pity or any of these lower frequencies. The point is that when we get to this love point and above, we bring that love that's resonating within us to all of these situations. We can walk into any of these places and still resonate love or above. It's an integration of all of those vibrations and all of those experiences. It's understanding that We are love, and love can see sadness and can see um, suffering and still be love. It's
Okay.
yeah.
But here's the thing. Okay, so as you're talking, I'm like, if I'm somebody who doesn't get this, I'm like, what the what how? Like it sounds so lofty,
Mm,
right? And this is where it gets frustrating, I think, to people is they hear things like this and it sounds so idyllic. It's like these little quotes that we get where everybody's like, it has all the things, be the change, and it's like it sounds wonderful and it sounds like something you can jump onto, but how? How? Like, be the change is like one of those things that you're like, oh, it's simple, just be the change, right? Well, it's not so simple to be the change. Like, once you try to be the change, it's not as simple as it is, right? And so, with this, as you're talking about love coming to and through you, and that you can feel and have an orientation of love, peace, and joy, but yet it's through the integration and in the acknowledgement, not the avoidance of those situations. But how? And so for me, some of this comes around like, I talk a lot in the Authentically You course that I have about mining our frequency, right? And so what this is about is practicing and being aware. We all have a resting energetic frequency. It's kind of our go-to, and that's been cultivated in us.
mhm.
So I see people that have a resting frequency of, you know, they think things are going to go wrong. Their total victim mentality. The world is against them. It's a cruel place. Bad things are happening. And they get proof of it all the time. Now, they live in the same world as me, but it takes practice to see the beauty in this world. It's both here. It's always both going to be here. You're going to have beauty and you're going to have not so beautiful,
And it has
right?
to be. It has
What?
to be. It has to
Yes.
be for us to have the experience.
Yes.
Like
Say
I
it. We'll just riff. We'll
drew,
just keep
yeah,
riffing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I drew a magnet on my notes over here, the positive and the negative side. A magnet can't create that magnetic force. It can't draw things to it if it doesn't have both. If it were just positively charged, it would do nothing. It has to have both poles. And like I said before, that like I really get excited about this. Literally, our universe would not be without the dark matter being present in it. It's the glue that holds the universe together. We can't see it, we can't necessarily measure it, but we know it's there because the presence of everything else that's around it. It has an effect on the things around it. Oh my God, my brain just went to connecting
So
something else. It's wild here, but yeah, go ahead.
So if you have that dark matter, you literally have the choice in the universe. Dark matter is here and light is here. And you literally have the choice to toggle and to attune to the light or the dark. It exists in every single situation. Like this situation it does, wait, wait for it. This situation it does, wait for it. This situation it does. Every single situation that we're in as we go along, we have an opportunity to attune to and orient ourselves to the lightness or the darkness of the situation. This is a practice. It is a practice to orient yourself and to just, and you may say, well, how? Well, it's in every situation allowing yourself to look around and say, oh, if in this situation there's goodness and I do not feel the goodness of the situation, what might it be? Let me pause. Let me bring myself back from what I'm seeing and allow myself to be in this neutral space.
Yeah.
You're taking those 3 breaths, you're getting back to baseline, and then you're coming back online going, where's the beauty here? And then assuredly, you will see the beauty when you start to practice this and you will start to see the beauty of that situation. And then you start to have an orientation of you just see the beauty. And what we were talking about was, is I was just in Colorado, I'm in a parking lot. I've got strip malls and cars and all this stuff. And I'm just walking back from lunch to my hotel, and it's all hotels and cars and Lowe's and businesses. And it is not pretty. but all I see is the beauty. All I see is the very top of the strip mall is a narrow little mountain ridge
Mhm.
that I can see beyond. And then it's starting to rain in the distance. So I see this rain over the mountain and I'm like, ooh, this is beautiful. And then I see this blooming tree. So I get behind the blooming tree and I start to, my orientation is to take the blooms and cover the cars and the asphalt. And I'm now seeing the mountains in the distance with the blooming tree. And I just stand there and I just look at it and I just feel this moment and I take it in for like a minute. And I'm so happy. And I'm walking back and I'm holding this frequency of just all I can see are the mountains and the beauty all around me. All I can do is feel that. That is a choice. I literally could have not stopped, not seen the mountains, only been like, gosh, of all the places that I have to stay, I'm all I have are strip malls and all I have are concrete and cars. And this is, you know, it's literally a choice to see the beauty in this space and to feel it and receive it and accept it, or to look around for all the things that are wrong or all the things that I wish were different. It's literally a choice. So in that moment where I recognize I have that choice, I pivot. I don't give it any more thought. I don't why? I just focus on the beauty of the trees and the blooms and I smelled them. The lilacs there were just amazing. Like I could smell them. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." Right?
I've got another great situation
Do it.
that you made me think about. So, being a mother and having worked as a birth doula, I love the intense contrast that exists in a birthing room. So you've got, I mean, you literally have this miraculous event occurring of life being born out of a person's body. Like, how does that happen? We still don't understand quite how this happens. It's incredible. And it's like
Oh,
the,
we're going to have a birds and bees discussion.
oh God, the moment a child is being born, there is this like stillness that falls. But it has to. Like you
Mm,
can't possibly be in a room where life is literally being birthed and not be in awe. It's not possible. It's so and I've never been in a birthing room where there wasn't screaming, intense pain. The worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life. Blood and other things. It's not pretty. It is disgusting. It is incredibly painful. And yet miraculous. Like there's life being born. And like when that child gets placed on your chest, and you also have nurses who are literally trying to stop you from bleeding out at the same time, whatever you focus on, that's what you're going to feel.
yeah.
So you've got this rush of oxytocin. There is no the oxytocin that a birthing person experiences when child is placed on them. There is no higher, nothing else comes close. We know oxytocin is the love hormone. Nothing, no other event in life comes close to that surge of oxytocin. That's your body. Literally, oxytocin, the surge of oxytocin blocks out the incredible pain that you're in and allows you to be present with this child that you just birthed. It is inexplicable.
Question though, it allows you, because this is beautiful. This is like the perfect story to share, like related to this, because you see people all the time. Like the reality is,
Yeah.
yes, some people may have easier births than others,
Mhm.
right? Or, no doubt. But there are people who go into birth and have completely different, like it's a beautiful experience. Like let's just say it's a similar experience of birth, similar.
Yeah.
And somebody has this beautiful experience and somebody talks about all the pain that happened, right? And so, yes, they're both there.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
but your experience is completely different depending on the orientation and what you allow. So that same oxytocin
Yep.
that is released that blocks that pain and allows for you to connect with your child can be something, would be my speculation, that you can override and block and say, no, 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 I'm not having this experience because the pain's so great.
Yep.
Even though you have a pathway for that connection, you can block the very thing that's meant to block your pain.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, so I've had, I think there's a reason why I've had 4 completely different births, because I've had, eh, I mean, run the gamut from I did fine, everything was great, it was uncomplicated, to the most complicated possible circumstances. I've had a child placed on me as soon as they were born and been able to connect with them. I've had a child taken away from me as soon as they were born and never been able to connect with them. And that oxytocin that was there didn't work because there was nothing for me. It was active,
Mm,
painful, and it was lonely. And I ended up with incredible postpartum depression because I never got that needed,
mm,
because they
mhm.
were taken. And then I was like, well, now what? I'm in pain. This sucks. I can't hold my child. It was awful. So
Right.
yeah, I've had all of those experiences, and I just think it's really, really interesting, um, that it was the same scenario, like the birth of a child, but in each of them, it felt really, really different.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that we were talking about that seems relevant with this is, you really have this, like, as we're obviously meant to love. Like, love is, from a spiritual perspective, like, biblically, it talks about love your neighbor, and love is the golden rule, right? And so we know the importance of love in that vibration of 500 hertz frequency scale, 500 or above, right? And so we know that type of desire within us just innately as a spiritual being, but then also as a human, that sense of belonging, that sense of safety that comes from feeling love. And so what we were talking about was, it's one orientation to say that I'm trying to find love, I'm
Mhm.
searching for love. We talk about that in our society, that we're searching for love, that we want to find love. And
Yeah.
it seems such a lofty, beautiful thing. But the challenge with that orientation is that there's an absence of love. And so we're submitting into the universe that I don't have it, even though we may have it with friends, we may have it with family, we may have it in our workplace and the appropriate agape love there. But we have love around us, but yet we're searching for a love or the love or whatever it is. But it suggests a lack of. It's a different orientation. I don't have it. So my filter and my lens and my belief is I don't have it. I'm searching. So there's the bit of sadness, like you described in that one birth. Like, I'm searching, right? I'm absent. There's this loneliness, right? Whereas if we were to shift our orientation and practice an orientation of, no, 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 I'm not searching for love. That sounds like it's all happening out here. But what if I have an orientation of being love? What if I am, I choose to be love? And it goes back to what you said, love coming to me and through me. It's coming to me and through me. And if I have that orientation, that I know that love is coming to me, that I know that love comes through me, that I know that I am able to be love, then I always have it. It's always with me. And what's interesting is when we have that orientation of love, the initial fear, I believe, because I've been there before, the initial fear is that if I have that orientation, it sends complacency into the universe, and somehow the universe will not give me more love than I already have. And I want more love. And it's like, but the reality is that when you start being love and you just look for opportunities for love to flow through you and to give to this person in this interaction, or to this toll person when you smile at them and you hand them their money and you're like, have a great day, I appreciate you. To this person who's handing your takeout food and you're like, thank you so much for this. to every person that you meet, if you just are love, then that orientation, love, like to have the number of incidents that love just finds you because you are a beacon of love, that's how you find the love, or love that surpasses anything that you could have imagined, is being love, not trying to find love.
Yeah. I wasn't looking.
Yeah, me
And all,
neither.
all I'm going to say is being love is not asking for you to give more than what you are capable of. I want people to hear this. You are just the spigot. That's it. You're not the source. I'm not asking for you to somehow drum up something that isn't already present within you. We're just a conduit for an infinite supply of everything. And it's an infinite supply of everything. So whatever you want to bring into this world is what you're going to bring infinitely.
Yeah.
What are you a spigot for? Did you hook up your hose to the anger spigot? Because you can be an
Mm,
infinite supply of anger if you choose to, because it's all infinitely available. Or you can be an infinite supply of love. And all
mm.
you've got to do is just open the spigot. That's it. That's all this requires of you, is just to say, yes, I want to be an infinite supply of love. I just want to give love. That's all I want to do.
Okay.
Give it. Yeah.
All right. I love that. I love that. That's a great visual to recognize that you have all of these different options of spigots to and that's basically your resting vibration. That's your resting vibration. That's your orientation. That's your lens. That's your expectancy. That's who you believe that you are, which allows for the rest of circumstances to come to you. But I think, kind of going back to what we were talking about before, how do you take all of those circumstances that you have that don't seem to be love filled, challenges, and integrate them into this lens of love whenever things happen that aren't easily lovable, right? And so for me, when I think about that, I think about, you're not the vibration of what that is and could be on its own is not what the vibration will be when it's integrated within you. Your vibration is still love. The thing is you're experiencing a circumstance that has a lower frequency through you and the lens of this higher vibration of you, and you're maintaining you despite those lower vibration circumstances. And because it's being integrated through you and your filter, you're very aware. You're not ignoring it. You're not avoiding it. You're not saying, oh, I refuse to accept this circumstance. I refuse to deal with this. I refuse to. It's instead recognizing exactly where you are and your choice to to be love in the midst of it. So, for example, you didn't know things back then that you know now. I didn't know things 5, 10 years ago that I know now. There are definitely situations that I was in that I wish that I was being loved instead of feeling victimized and somehow separate from the highest good in that situation, right? And if I were in that same situation again, I probably would make different choices, but I can't make different choices now, right? I can make different choices with what's moving forward, but I'm not going to go back and try to fix that, right? It's just this, how I fix the past is through adjusting the lens of me
Mhm.
now. That's how I fix the past, because we've talked about it's a non-linear universe. What if how we fix the past is just to deal with now, because it has the ability, just like it fixes the future,
Yeah.
it does fix the past, but in ways that we can't understand or see. And if we're honest, we can't understand or see the future either. We can only see it through retrospective awareness when it's there. But we don't know how changing ourselves now, we believe it, we know it, we've seen it, other people do it, But we have to have faith that by changing who we are now and just being this different lens, is going to have a different experience moving forward. But we know that it goes multi-directional. So how I'm going to fix my past is not, I can't go back. I can't rewind it. I can't do this. But I can change the beacon of me now and be love and know that in the universe, beyond my comprehension, there are reverberations that go in both directions. And I have to have faith that it's fixing something in my family line. It's fixing something in my history that is way beyond my capacity to know, but I know it still is a thing.
Okay, scientifically, we know this is factual. We know
Bring
that
it.
if we want to, if there are people who are like, that's ridiculous, you can't go back in time and you can't go forward in time. Okay, so well, we know that's not true because otherwise we'd be frozen in this present moment forever. We never get anywhere either way. But if you want to talk about it scientifically, the proof is that epigenetics is this field that we now know exists. And it is the fact that when the Bible talks about generational curses or generational blessings, that this is the science behind it. The experiences that our ancestors had changed the expression of their DNA, not the DNA itself, changed the expression of their DNA. We've all got these genes that are either turned off or on based on the necessity for them to be activated or dormant. And epigenetics says that if our ancestors were in like dwelling in caves and had saber-toothed tigers attacking them all the time, that would change the genes that were expressed in order for them to survive those circumstances. And then the expression of those genes gets passed on to generation to generation to generation to generation.
Intergenerational transmission.
Yeah. So now we are here in present day with those genes either switched on or off based on what our ancestors needed or didn't need. And we know for a fact that epigenetics says that those changes are not permanent. We can literally reactivate our DNA. We can change the way our DNA is expressed. And we can choose to do that in such a way that we'll pass that on to future generations. Blessings, 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 blessings. Because we know that it's possible. And we actually have, we are sitting in a time where we actually have scientific proof. So if you're a naysayer or a skeptic, you can't do that anymore. We have scientific proof that says that we can change the way our genetics are programmed. And what got me freaking out earlier was when I was going off in that discussion about dark matter in the universe and how dark matter itself is not, we can't see it, it's not expressed. We only know that it's there because of its effect on everything around it. I was like, holy crap, DNA too. DNA, the whole strand of DNA is not all fully expressed all the time. It's only segments of DNA that code for certain proteins that then build our bodies and their expressions. But it's the introns that are not expressed that turn on or off. Basically, I'm really simplifying it, switch on or off the expressed parts of our DNA. So depending on what the dark matter of our DNA is doing, that's going to affect the expression of the other parts of our DNA. So we know the introns are there and we can see what they're doing because of the way they affect the genes around them. Same thing with dark matter. As above, so below. You could take any concept that exists that we found out in the universe and figure out its molecular, expression in our bodies or in, it just, I could go on forever about this, but think about that then in terms of what we're talking about with the frequency of love. Think about it. It's all present all the time. It's all present within you. Every vibration is present and accessible to you all the time.
And so it's the expression if it's turned on or off.
That's it. It's just the expression of it. There are
That's
people
beautiful.
living in this world, the same world that we're living in, experiencing all of the same things that you're experiencing, who are freaking peaceful and in love with their lives all the time. And that's not inaccessible to you.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's accessible to all of us. It's just a choice.
Yeah. It's so funny. So I feel like from a world perspective, when we talk about this, I have people say to me, how do you be in this world and be happy as you are and still be aware of what's happening in the world? And I'm like, listen, I'm aware of the conflicts
Yeah.
that are happening. I'm aware of the challenges in the world. What I don't believe is that by being in fear and uncertainty about the things that I have no control over,
Mhm.
those things directly. Now, if you say, well, but you could, well, then go do it. If you want to have a difference in some other conflict, insert yourself into it. But if
Mhm.
you're not going to insert yourself into it, then do what you can where you are. And what does the world need more of, given what you're seeing?
Mhm.
World needs more love.
Yeah.
World needs more acceptance. The world needs more understanding. The world needs more forgiveness. So if there's something that you do not understand, that you are deeply conflicted by, that you are emotionally hurting from, for example, a family member who has a different political opinion than you,
Mhm.
a family member who votes in a way that hurts your soul and your presence in this world, lean in, have a conversation. How do we change? It's we try to everything that's in front of us, everything that we have influence in our world on, be love. Be love. And you're like, well, it's not that easy. It's super frustrating. No, it takes practice. It takes practice to be in front of somebody. Sometimes the being love is to not be mean to somebody and to be kind and loving to yourself. Sometimes it's that you have to leave a situation and you're like, wow, I was able to really show love to myself.
Mhm.
And that was how I found love in this situation. I
Ooh,
was able to be love to myself. I found it. That
okay.
was an orientation.
Oh my gosh, I'm glad you brought it back around to this because earlier when you were talking about loving others, I wrote down the Bible says love your neighbor as yourself. This is we're all missing this apparently because we're walking around a lot of us. We've done a lot of inner work to get to this point, but a lot of us are walking around and we hate ourselves and we're always talking negatively about ourselves. If you don't integrate and love all the parts of yourself, this is going back to that integration. It's all present in all of us. I could be in, give me any circumstance that any human in this world is in, and that could be me. I am all of those things.
Mm.
If we can't get to a place of accepting and loving all the parts of ourselves, then nobody else is going to be able to accept and love all the parts of us. I can't walk around in a state of hating the way that I feel and who I am and expect someone else to come up and love how I feel and who I am. It just doesn't work. We have to love ourselves. And if you're a biblical person or if you're not, it doesn't matter. But the truth is, once we get to a place of, man, I'm so grateful for this life and I love myself and I love who I am and how I show up and it just radiates out of me, then I can easily love other people. Because when I see something that frustrates me about someone else, first I see me in them. The only reason people annoy us and get on our nerves and make us angry is because we see that we could be them. If you love all the parts of yourself, then you love those parts of yourself that you see in other people too. I've been them. I've felt that way. That could be me. And then I can love them because I love that part of me.
Mhm. Well, and not only that, but I think if we're honest with ourselves, like I think it's really important to also say that there's many ways that we ourselves we understand what where somebody else is at. Like there's been times like I grew up in a community where I understand why some of the people that I know still believe some of the things. But there's the reality is that there are other people in that same community who don't believe some of those same things. So everybody is at a different stage, no matter where you live, no matter what you're doing, you are doing this work around creating your orientation. And that orientation, like what your beliefs are, affect your experience in this world. And back to this topic, this being love, you may say, well, it's just not that easy. Like I have these moments, like I have people that I know that are like, it's just not that easy, it's complicated. It isn't now that easy because you have such a deeply wired belief system that you're rejecting the potential. But the reality is that when you keep leaning in and you keep getting the same messages that come up, there's some part of you that believes something. It's trying to get you information. When you start to hear the same messages and you're like, wow, why does this message keep coming up? Because you're asking for something in the universe and an answer is coming to you, but you're blocking it. The moment that you say, I wonder what this has to teach me, and you lean in and you start to get curious about it, and you start to pick it up and turn it around and play some things about it and take in more information, that's when you have the receptivity to start allowing it to work on you. And so being love, you may be like, well, I'm just this kind of a person, or I'm just that kind of person. You're choosing to be this kind of a person. You're choosing to be that kind of a person. If you want to be that kind of person, be it. But for you to be like, yeah, that's not how I grew up. I grew up in this community or that community. I tend to see that in certain communities where people have this community affiliation around a little rough edges. And they're like, I'm this person from this community and this is how we are. And it's like, well, I guess if that identity is more important to you than happiness and joy and peace, then you should keep that. But you could also be a person from that community that actually has peace, love, and joy, because there are other people in the community that do have it and they exist. It's a choice. It's literally a choice, right? It is. And so for me, one of the last things I want to say is just that I want to just make sure that people are hearing that you are constantly cultivating and curating your experience here. And if you want more love in this world, then it starts with being more loving. And the beautiful part of this is it starts with just loving yourself more. I probably had like a whole year after I left my last job that I was like, what are ways that I can love myself? And it was like going hiking every single week, biking several times a week. Well, what are the things I love? I like not having stress and conflict. Okay, not going to do that. Just continue to continue. What are the things I love? And I allowed myself to do loving things towards me. And once I started to receive the love of, I want to see more love in the world. And what are ways that I can serve? What are ways that I can be helpful to people around me that I love, the people that I love in my community? How can I show them love? And once I started to do that, then more opportunities to show people love started showing up. And it's that practice of, wait, how, starting every day with, how can I show love today? How can I be loved today? How can I be loving towards myself today? That once that becomes like part of your inner language and rhetoric, it just starts to become your orientation, who you are. And you'll start to see opportunities for you to be loving towards yourself and other people and your community. And then it'll just like keep rushing towards you. It becomes like your new lens, right? And
Feel.
so it's like,
How did it feel when you made that switch and that shift? How did it start to feel?
I mean, honestly, like I have to say how it started to feel like little moments through days. I would be like it'd be like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm taking a walk and a break in my day, and I take a walk, and I'd be like, "Gosh, I'm so happy." I'd like notice it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, it was so powerful that I'd be like, "Gosh, I've been happy all day, like all day." And I started to realize that it was my choices that I was making. That no, if if I had a relationship a friendship, somebody in the community that it didn't feel good to be a part of that consistently and they weren't invested in a loving relationship, done. Like I don't need to I don't need to explain it. I can try. I can try to improve it if I want to, but I literally just kept saying on every single decision that I was making, I'm not going to do this because I should. Because once I start having a should lens, even in the smallest way, then that's going to be a filter that's in my mind. I'm not going to do any shoulds. Even if it's harder initially, I was like, okay, I'm going to try to tell myself it's not harder. This is just actually how it feels. So it's an orientation again. Why is that? Why does it have to be hard? Why couldn't it just be, wow, it's really uncomfortable when you're trying to do something new? But that's okay. I'm going to get through that. Right. And so I'm just going to keep focusing on and trusting. Do I believe this? If I believe this, then I need to be devoted to it.
Mhm.
And if I'm devoted to it, then I'm going to trust that it's going to happen. So back to your original question, how does it feel? This morning when I got up and I went over to get coffee, I was like, another day that I just love. And I was like, wait, what day is this? Oh, it's Sunday. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to love Monday too. I had that thought. I actually was like, oh my God, I'm going to love Monday too. And I got giddy because I used to on Sunday, it was a thing. Everybody on Sunday night, not sleeping, feeling sick, can't like stress coming onto your body. Guess what? How does it feel? I don't feel stressed. I do things that are challenging and hard, but it's what I want to do that's challenging and hard. It's invigorating to me and I love it. And so because I'm choosing challenging and hard that I love, it's compounded love. It just starts to be like what happens.
So this little note that I don't know where it came from at the top of this note page that I started scribbling things on when I couldn't even see. This little note says move towards the love. I think maybe that's the message.
That's the episode title.
I agree with you. I was actually thinking that I like triple circled it. Move towards the love.
And a
Find
triple circle means it's happening.
find where you're currently seeing and experiencing love and move towards it.
What if, just going to put this out there, what if as you moved towards the love moved towards you?
Come on!
As my friend Kristen, who gave me this incredible book that I'm filling up with incredible things, expect miracles. Like, what if you really, like, what if this is a true thing? If it's one, you say this all the time, if it's one person's experience, it can be somebody else's experience, right? Because it exists. It says that there's a possibility. So the reality is that it is true that when we move towards the love,
yeah,
the love moves towards us. It's just the way that it is. And if you want to question the love moving towards you, then your experience is going to be constantly questioning that. You're choosing to curate your experience in this world. And so it's like you don't have any, like, I'm not even going to say you don't have anything to lose. You do have something to lose. Because if you don't choose this orientation, you have a whole different experience in life.
Ooh, I just
My
had
thing,
a whole rush of oh crap, like run through me because what I was thinking was when I saw in you everything that you are and the love that you are, I couldn't help but move towards that. And I could have talked myself out of it and said, this is ridiculous. There's no way. That's not even possible. There are so many reasons why that couldn't work. But I had cultivated in myself at that point just this like tenacity of there's nothing that I could possibly lose.
why not?
Why not? So when you said, you can choose not to, Of course I could have chosen not to, but I don't want to know what I would have been, giving up on or not stepping towards if I hadn't.
Well, you wouldn't have this.
I mean, maybe you would have stepped forward. I don't know, but I'm sure glad that I did.
So when we're thinking about being love, I just want to I think the way what you just said is so important. Like, we can't retrospectively and we can't theoretically understand. It seems like a small choice. Like, we can't even imagine where making a loving decision, whatever the love is in a moment, we know what the orientation of love. We know, like, when you're walking past that person and you get the urge to get out $1 and you see that they're just hurting, even if you didn't give them $1 and just made eye contact, you know where the love is. You know, when you put your head down and you look away from that person that's in need, that it's a fear response. You're afraid. You know the love in every single situation, every single one. Look at this. I'm not even doing this. Like, I'm not even doing this. And the universe is like, yes, yes. And then when I do it, it doesn't do it. What the heck? The universe is like, no, this is my point, not yours. This is my point. But my point is, or the universe's point, apparently, not my point, but the universe's point is that we know where the love is. We know where the love is. It feels good. It feels good. It feels like a solid yes. And we also know what fear response is when we're closed up. It's really simple when you just say, feels good, feels positive, feels like the right thing to do, and I'm scared. One of the two. And when you're in this lean forward, feels good, that's literally what the universe is saying to you is, hey, I'm just asking you to find the love. I'm actually asking to give you more love. I'm actually asking you, despite the challenges in your circumstances, I'm going to soften it a little by finding the love in it. It's still going to hurt. Like, I think about losing my grandmother. There was pain in that. I feel it just saying it.
Because there was so much love.
But there was so much love. There was so much love. Like, in that moment, I could see the ways that this was a loving experience. And I can focus on the pain and allow myself to just, now the pain is in here. You can see that. The pain is in there. But the lens that I'm experiencing the pain is this loving lens. It is this total gratitude. But that's my orientation, is the gratitude for that moment, as opposed to the orientation of, I'm not expecting pain. I'm not expecting bad things to happen. I'm not going, why did this happen to me? Why did I lose my grandmother? I'm not going from that orientation of being victimized. I'm going from an orientation of, the universe loved her. The universe loved me. The universe loved my stepdad, my mom, all the people that were involved in this. And we all had the softest bad experience that we could have.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it's all present all the time.
Yeah.
It's all present all the time. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, special thanks to Asheville artist Melissa Moss for our cover art. You can learn more about Melissa at melissamossart.com. And thank you to Cloud Cult for our intro and outro music from their song, There's So Much Energy in Us. Find out more about them at cloudcult.com.
Wait.
Yes, oh my gosh. Wait.
Cloud Cult. They've got like a free concert series going on for the next. Wait,
yeah.
but just look them up, Cloud Cult. They've got some free concerts coming up. If you're in the area and they're there and you feel nudged and you see a date that floats up and you're like, yes, go.
Yeah.
It's going to be this amazing spiritual experience. It's going to be amazing. Got to go see Cloud Cult. Support them. They're amazing individuals.
Mm, thank you. I almost
Mhm.
forgot about that. And thank you for listening, friends. Until next time, peace, love, and light.